Well, hello everybody. Hi everyone. And
Hello.
welcome people, and welcome to all you audience out there. Please tune in. If you haven't, and you can see us going live, please do share as well. Let me introduce myself. I'm Neelam. I'm based in London. And I'm going to tell you that we don't have all of our team today, but we do have a few of them here, and I will quickly introduce who they are. And we have Amrita, who is based in India. You'll give us a quick wave. We have Paola, who is in South Africa. And we have Dani, who is also in UK, but a couple of hours away from me. And we have two delightful guests with us as well, but we will expect to have Ananya joining us a little bit soon as well. I'm going to come up with introducing our lovely guests. But I want to tell you what this event is about today. What is this live about? So we're going to be talking about body shaming and body positivity. So there'll be lots of questions that are coming up. And we would expect you guys to also come up with some questions that you can ask our guests or even ask us as well. And we're happy to answer them for you. What we want to do is make changes and make meaningful conversations to have those changes happen in our community, in our dance communities. And I have to say, since the beginning of our life, we've been able to go almost across the board internationally and invite so many people to have these discussions. So I'm dead proud of the way that these lives are going. So thank you so much for that. We keep asking you guys to keep sharing, keep liking our page, Kizomba Family. I want to briefly just introduce our guests, but we're going to give them more of a platform after we've done the competition. So I'll introduce you to our first guest, who is Kyla. Kyla, do you want to give us a wave? Okay. Now, Kyla apparently is in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know if I got the accent for it, but she's based over in the US. Now, Kyla, I literally just got to know you just a few minutes ago, a couple of days ago, sorry. And she runs a company called Baila with Kyla. I love that. That kind of rings. And she does bachata and salsa, but she also does empowerment and body love. So I'm really interested to hear about that. And I'm sure all of you will want to know more about what she does. So we're excited to have you on, Kyla.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And we also have our guest who's been with us before, and it's a pleasure to have her back, and it is Tammy. Tammy, hi, welcome back again. Thank you so much. We always enjoy having you with us. It's so resourceful. It's incredible. Thank you. Now, Tammy is based in South Africa, and she dances kizomba. She's a kizomba person out there in South Africa too. She's a psychologist, so I think it's important, if we're going to have these discussions, that we do get the right resources on. And I think Tammy's been our girl, and we really appreciate that. So we're grateful to have you on. She also runs a page called Span Psych. So if you don't know about Span Psych, you'll see it on the banner below. All the details come across for all of our guests. And you can like and follow her. I tend to watch her page. And they're pretty informative information there for all of you to have a look at and a glance. Sometimes it's just a really good pick-me-up, which is what we always need. Yeah. So thank you, Tammy. It's great to have you with us again. And so what we do, as you always know, that we are not just people who are building a community. We also like to give back to the community in some way, and we do that through competitions where we support businesses, small businesses out there as well. And we try to do that every fortnight, in order to offer you a gift. And it's the courtesy of these companies that they're happy to send them out to all of these guests. Now, I did come across one person, and I really liked her mug. It's called Chia Maria. So I want to do a quick shout out before I pass it over to Amrita and Dani, who will be running the competition. But just before I do that, this is the mug that I got from Chia Maria, and you can see, sorry, it's got my lipstick on there, and she signed it there as well, my name on there. So I'm really pleased with my mug. So a big shout out to Chia Maria Mugs and More. So that's her page. Do follow her as well. Okay. I see we got Ananya who's joined us.
Hi.
Yay!
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry for being so late.
It's so good to have you, Ananya. It's been a while since you've been able to join us. You've been so busy with Latinka Creole. So Latinka Creole is...
Life has been crazy.
No worries, no worries. The life of a professor, we get that. Because you're back now, aren't you? Back to teaching your students. But
everything is back from the delight of one's study.
Oh God.
I'm everywhere from this desk, you know. It's a bit mad, but hey, that's life.
It's adapting, isn't it? It's a different kind of adaptation to life right this moment in COVID times, right?
It's lovely to see everybody. I've missed you.
Oh, bless. We've all missed you. Well, I've missed you. I think they all missed you as well. We've been talking about it. So, mwah. Now, Ananya is, she runs, there's one thing that she's a professor at King's College, but also she runs, I don't know if it's a weekly, but please correct me at this point, Ananya.
Well, yeah, it's a cultural platform that we are running, like everything on Facebook. Le Tine Creole, it's a platform for cultural multiplicity and plurality and fun. We do things in an enjoyable way. We're talking about serious things, but while everybody's having a good time.
And you know what? She does it
with, I think.
And Dani, you do it with all these sexy clothes on. So she'll sit there looking really amazing. And then everyone, I don't know, I can't tend to take you that seriously because I'm looking at these amazing outfits and your sexy legs that are out half the time.
Sexy legs? We're just totally mermaids with our torsos up. Why do you the legs so much?
You've been working out with Magna Gopal quite a lot. So yeah, you should have real, like, amazing legs.
I'm not saying the legs aren't amazing. I'm saying this damn technology doesn't allow us to see them. We are just seeing the top half of our bodies all the time, aren't we? Yes, we have events twice a month. So it's like every fortnight there's a curated event on a Friday, and so sometimes that's why I can't join you guys on a Friday. And every other Sunday at 5 o'clock UK time, we have a total freewheeling improv conversation on the platform. And yeah, we enjoy it.
That's super. So people should tune into that. Please. I mean, they can hear it now, and this live, we don't delete these videos, so people will know, and they'll know where to go and find you and follow your cultural work. So thanks very much for that, Ananya. So we're going to go over to the exciting stuff because I'm keen to know who's the winners for this week. So I'm going to pass it over to Amrita. Or is it Dani? Who's taking over?
I'm doing it.
Okay. That way. No, that way. Amrita. Okay, over to you, Ami.
Thank you, Neelam. Welcome, all lovely guests. Good to have you back, Ananya and Tammy. And hi, Kyla. Friday nights are very special. And although I'm like really tired today after traveling 30 hours, but then, I have to make it this particular one because this is a very special one. About body shaming and body positivity, and we have a term here which got coined on this show by Ananya.
Autism.
We had sexism, sizeism. Now we have autism.
We actually did a Google. Well, actually, Paola did a Google search on autism, and it actually does exist.
Damn, it's too late.
Paola, what was the explanation for autism? Do you remember?
Not really.
I will send it to you. I will send it to you. I mean, someone can Google it. And Ananya, if you Google it straight away, you'll find autism is an actual terminology that's been used out there.
I will Google it right now. But before I do that, I actually want to share our live as well on my page. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not putting my Facebook.
Okay, we'll let you do that. We'll let Ami do the competition while you do your sharing.
I'm sharing it so that there's a watch party basically going on my
No watch parties, because we don't get the questions then.
Yeah, but it's just kind of, it's just making us more alluring and available for everybody to know what exciting things to do. So, just sharing.
Okay, Ami, over to you, honey.
All right, contest time. So last week, 2 weeks back, we had a very special episode on female DJs. We had some amazing DJs speaking, and we had the prize, we had the contest being sponsored by another DJ also. She's Alice Lee from Singapore, and she has 𝐲𝐴𝒐𝒄𝐆 Design, and she sponsored this beautiful African fabric earrings and matching mask. So that was up for grabs. And we had the question, and guess what? The winner is also a female DJ. Yeah, see, the universe connects. So yes, the female DJ and who plays for my parties in Chennai. She was the lucky winner. And Samiksha Panigrahi, DJ Soma. If you're listening to this, you are the winner.
Wow.
Panigrahi, DJ Soma. She is the winner from last week's contest, and I'm wearing these earrings from African Design. These are really handmade, nice fabric, African fabric earrings. They came for my birthday. I'm super excited to be sporting them tonight. So that was from last week. Samiksha, if you're listening in, tuning in, you've got the winner. You're the winner, and I'll connect you to Alice to claim your prize. And moving on to this week's contest question. First, we'll have the prize up. Paola, this week's contest is being sponsored by 𝐼𝐴𝒐𝒄𝐆. The founders are Zenobia Beg and Prime Shah Paul. I don't know if I'm if I'm saying that right. But they have this really amazing hamper that they're giving out, which has incense sticks and healing crystals and a bunch of other things among everything else. A really pamper yourself kit. So this is up for grabs tonight. This is up for grabs tonight, people. So pay attention to the question for this week. Paola, the question. Very simple one. What is the word virgula in English? I repeat, what is the word virgula in English? Pretty simple. Easy, people. Come on in. Answer the question in this live. During the time of this live, we will repeat the question again, and you have about an hour and a half to answer this, and we will pick up one lucky winner from all the correct answers. So the question is, what is the word virgula in English? All right, so that was the question from this week. Please answer. We will announce the winners in our next live. And over to you, Neelam, to continue for body shaming and body positivity.
Thank you, Ami. I wish I could get all these gifts. You guys are so lucky you get all of these gifts out there. And we just end up offering them. Guys, you need to up your game. Can we enter the competition ourselves? I think we should. I think we should. Even though I created the question, I think I deserve to enter. Guys, so before we begin, with everything that we do, we try to have a bit of sensitivity around making sure that we are not saying we are the be-all and end-all of these discussions. So we tend to put up a disclaimer, and we're going to put up disclaimer for a few minutes so you can have a read of that disclaimer before we begin. So it's up here right now.
All right.
Super. Thank you so much for that, Paola. All right. So I was just trying to send a message at the same time. Clearly, I can't multitask. It's not a good thing, is it? I'm going to put that down, and we're going to begin. So I initially introduced you all to Kyla and Tammy, and also Ananya. So I would like to start with our guest. the idea of this discussion is to move and steer towards more body positivity, because I know we can get caught up in a cycle of speaking about the what happens, but we want to look at what needs to change, what also needs to happen for our community on and off the dance floor. It's not just an education within the dance environment. But I want to speak and ask about Tammy and her experience of being in the dance, her own understanding of her body in the dance, and the reflections that she's had and the impact it's had while she's out there, and maybe a little bit more about your body your body love classes that you do, Tammy. Not Tammy, sorry, Kyla. I'm going to get so confused today, aren't I? So I'm going to hand it over to you, Kyla. Please don't forget to unmute yourself.
Oh, you're going to me. I thought you were going to Tammy. Okay. Yeah. So I was fully ready to hear Tammy speak, but that's okay. So yeah, I'll just briefly, I know we'll be talking a lot about a lot of different things, but basically body love is something that has been in my head for a while. It's been kind of one of those things that was just picking at my brain for probably like a year and a half or so. I was just like, I think that we as humans need a space to talk about this idea of loving our bodies, because it can feel like something that's a little bit scary, and it's something that's not always brought up. It's not something that all of us were, taught to talk about freely. So I just felt led to create this safe space for people, or try to create a safe space. And yeah, so honestly, like, it was something that was really scary. I felt very terrified about it because I didn't see anyone else doing anything like that in particular in my realm. And so, obviously I was terrified, but honestly, quarantine is what kind of drove me to just do it and stop being scared. And so I had my first body love class a couple months ago, and it has just really taken off and been like so much more than I ever could have imagined it being. And, for me, the beautiful thing about it is, like, I'm not there to give you a rubric of here's how I loved my body. My intention with it is just to give people a space to learn what they need in order to start to love their own bodies. So the journey is honestly kind of different for each person that walks through the door or through the Zoom room. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that, it's your own journey. And I find that on this body love journey that we're all on, is that an important realization, and that it is going to look different for every single human. It's not going to be the same for anyone. But yeah,
Kyla, I'm interested. I mean, there's some questions that come up because this is really interesting. The fact that we can tell people, oh, how should you love your body? But how do you get someone to reach from having years and years of like impacted about that they're don't look good enough, or they don't match to someone who looks like a size 0? I mean, we're fed and fed and fed by social media all the time. And so what approaches do you use to actually move them away? Because I can imagine it's not an overnight, hey, look, you need to love your body, go home and say it 5 times and that's it, right? It's got to be more than that, right? Please tell us, what do you do exactly in terms of getting them there to at least acknowledge that they're not the ones that have to be the ones to change, if that makes sense. They don't have to change their body in order to suit society, but more so about what you do to get them to the revelation that it's okay to love myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right in saying that it doesn't happen overnight. And we talk about that. I say a lot that, this is a daily practice, and it's something that you visit every single day, and every single day it's going to look a little different. And, I think as far as I do work with people that have, had these thoughts in their brain for, sometimes 30, 40, 50 years. And you're right, it takes a lot of work. I fully believe that this journey of personal growth, and, for right now with what we're talking about with body love, it's a full-time job. It's 24/7, 365. And it's something that, like I said, it's going to be different for everyone. And it sometimes is going to feel more intense for certain people. And sometimes it's a little bit easier for some of us. And sometimes it is a complete, just mind-boggling experience. So one of the things that you asked, how do I help people begin to have this realization? And all I can do is be a guide. All I can do is try to guide these people into this space where they can just start to notice. So one of the things I do in these classes is, instead of this voice in our head that is saying these ugly things to us, instead of, saying like, okay, well, when you say that, don't think that, think this. Instead of like immediately judging ourselves, I try to get us into a space of, okay, let's just start to notice. So for instance, I did a 4-week series of body love, and on the first week, our heart work, soul work, whatever you want to call it, homework, was that you're just going to notice what you're saying to yourself. What is this narrative that we're taking in every single day in our own minds? What does that look like? And instead of saying like, oh, it's horrible and that's what needs to change, like, yes, that may be true, but that might not help us right now. So let's just take a second and just start to notice. So I have my, it's weird to say students, I have my friends that just happen to be in body love. We just start to notice what is that voice saying? What is this monologue that we're telling ourselves every day? And I feel like if we want to change something, we have to know it first. And if we're constantly just saying, I need to change this thing, then we never really get to know it. I hope that makes sense. But I think it's important to take the time to see what we are telling ourselves, what has become our truth, and then eventually figuring out how to separate what our truth is versus what people have told us our whole life, or what is that the judge in our mind, instead of our speaking our truth and being our truth. And I feel like that's a massive step in these classes. Obviously, we could go into 1,000 different directions, but I feel like that's honestly the biggest one that I've found.
Superb. What springs to mind when I think about the work that you do is there's a sense of vulnerability that people have to show in order for them to move along. And then there's the trust, isn't there? Like, how much am I going to give over to you? And there's layers that have to be broken down, or layers that have to be built in order for them to be that vulnerable with yourself. Thank you so much, Kyla. I will want to come back to you. Yeah, definitely, with more questions. We're expecting the audience to come out with some really crucial questions. What's happened to you in the dance scene? What have you seen that has made you feel that you're not good enough? What contributes to this happening? I know in the dance scene, I've seen a lot of people make comparisons about this person is a size 0, or actually this person is quite large. Why is she even dancing? You see lots of things that are occurring, and I want to move that over to Tammy, because I think this is a little bit of a question for you, Tammy, as to what impacts this kind of behavior. Like, why do particulars come up with having to body shame others? Is that their own self-gratification?
So I think that's a brilliant question to ask, and it's a simple thing. It's how it speaks a lot of, in terms of they projecting their insecurities onto you, and that's the reason why people body shame. They feel very insecure about parts of them, and it's in order to protect their vulnerable bits, they try and expose other people's vulnerable bits. And it is really, it's exceptionally sad that people do that, but it is to protect their very weak egos. We know that, and in the dance community, people are very competitive. And when they don't have something to show or something new to flash, then then they go and shame people. And that's their way of getting noticed. And that's also, and so I think of body shaming really as bullying, and and what we know about bullying is that bullies are normally have been bullied themselves. So people have that body shame have probably had body issues themselves as well. But it's usually just weak egos, weak psychics that they have at the moment. So it's really, really sad that people do that. But it's mainly to get attention, and
when I'm going to ask Dani and Amrita, and then we're going to move on to Ananya, because Ananya's obviously been on the dance scene. She observes a lot. She has a lot of an opinion about things that are occurring, because she's kind of a little bit remote from that. She has her own job that she's fully involved in, but then at the same time she can see all the stuff that's going on around her. But I'll tell you my experience of body shaming. So when I was growing up, I was your regular size. I wasn't big, I wasn't small. It was just I never had anything or anybody tell me that I was big or small, or kind of insulted me in any way about my body shaming. But as I entered the dance scene, when I entered the dance scene, I had, for the first year, it took a lot out of me just to try and be seen to be like so and so and so and so and so and so. My butt had to be firmer than that girl's over there, or I had to wear more of a low cut top. I felt like I started to expose my body in a way that was the only way that I was going to get any kind of attention. Okay, not for what I have here, or anything that we were going to have a conversation around, but I felt like I was being shaped into an environment that I didn't really feel comfortable, because all I wanted to do was go there and stay toned, meet new people, and just have fun. Yeah, so this is what was going on for me, and it's still to this day. I think it's been a big thing for me to understand, because I then quickly moved on to teaching in around 2008, and then the shift of it changed. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, that girl, she's really hot, blah 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 blah. But I was getting a lot of girls approaching me, dancers, students, who then were in the same position that I was in right at the beginning of my dance journey. And I think this is where this is why we've got less is more. This is why I've started to look at the research and think, well, what needs to happen in the dance arena? What needs to change here? I'm not saying that we're going to change everything, but we can at least be a catalyst, right? We can at least be a starter, if anything. But that's my experience of this of my issue in the dance arena. How has that made me feel? I still do struggle sometimes. Yeah, I do. Sometimes I don't. I've kind of moved back from dancing because I think, gosh, put on a few more pounds, and now I feel like I can't be out there. I'm not the Neelam that they saw back in 2000, and I don't know, from 12 onwards or whatever. It kind of does play on your mind a little bit. So you do all the things you can possibly do. I mean, today I was listening to Brenna Brown. I was trying to get my swag on, really. I was, and I think this is what happens, isn't it? You start looking at all the things that can help you, just to get you back to that mindset of how you used to be when you never had dance. I mean, Dani, who would like to talk about any experience that you've had? I mean, you may not have had it, and you may have heard it from friends, but I bet you any money there's not one person out there who could say to you that they've never felt that they've been in that position of just feeling like a little bit of comparing, a bit of comparison, a bit like, oh, can I be like this, and so on. I can see some hands raising, so I'm going to pass it over to Ami, and then Ami can pass it to Ananya.
We, like you said, growing up, I didn't really have to face any sort of body shaming or anything of that sort. But in our society, in our culture, even being too skinny, like I was always perpetually underweight. Even being too skinny was not considered, very healthy. So I had to hear a lot of stuff around it. Funny thing is that even when I was getting married, one of the concerns came in that, how will you bear a child? You're so skinny. I mean, that was something which really made me feel terrible about the way I felt about my body. I mean, am I being questioned that, I'm not even gonna be, I'm not capable enough to even be a mom because of the way my body is? But my metabolism is super high. I digest everything that I eat. That's not my fault. I mean, how am I supposed to work around that? So yes, that has always been a struggle in the other way. But then when I came to the dance community, I was well accepted. Oh, there's a skinny girl. And, I got a lot of popularity. But also what I saw, on the other hand, was despite being, so-called aesthetically pleasing, when it comes to showcases and performances, I and the other skinnier girls were placed in the front line, and the bigger girls were placed either in the corners or in the side or somewhere in the back, you know. But maybe sometimes they were better in technique, they were better dancers and more enthusiastic or more dedicated than the girls who were in the front line. So that's the perspective which I felt that, that felt odd, because, even during rehearsals, we had to wait for the other girls from the back line and from the sidelines used to come earlier, and they used to be on time for the rehearsals. But if the frontliners are not there, we used to miss out on the
Did you never say
practices as
anything,
well.
Ami? Did you not say, why can't you just put them at the front? Did you question it?
I did.
What did they say? What was the response?
I was
They fobbed you off.
So I was indirectly told that, so I cannot tell you, or I don't even want to remember the exact words that I was told, but it was indicated to me that we will showcase what sells.
What? Did I really hear that? Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, we will showcase what sells, because it's a business, and our showcases are meant for advertising, even in album covers. You've seen, even in the album covers and the dance event posters, the prettier girls, the skinnier girls, the girls in swimsuits, the girls with bigger butts, they're the poster, pin-up girls, that's what they say, they're on the posters. But if you go to a festival, do you think that how much of the percentage of those girls would be there? And also, even in the social dance environment, when they go out to dance, but I think the social dance environment has a little more acceptance towards girls of all sizes. That's what I've experienced, at least, because in the social dance floor, you just want to have fun. Nobody is looking at you. But especially, I have faced a lot. I've seen personally that when it comes to performing on stage, definitely there has been a lot of discrimination when it comes to the way you look, the way and of course, and they also have a beautiful, brilliant justification to it that, if you want to go on stage, if you want the light spotlight on you, then you better be of a certain size, certain waist size, or certain something. And that's the kind of justification that they even give for having such women in the front line, and or for not letting or giving the opportunity for bigger girls or some girls of sizes who are not fitting to their standard requirements, the requirements.
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting points there that you've raised. How we advertise on our flyers, on our social media, what we present there, what looks like, what we want to bring. It does play a lot on how we want to kind of move forward to what we want in our environment, our dance communities, and so on. Thank you so much for that, Ami.
Showcases need to change. The way the performances need to change. It needs to be more. The posters need to be more inclusive. The music videos need to be more.
We're going to move on to that at some point. We're definitely going to start looking at what needs to change at some point. But I want to move over to Dani and hear her story. By Dani, can I just say, I don't know what eyeshadow you got on, but it looks fabulous, by the way. But Dani, please do tell us your thoughts about things that you've seen happen, or even to yourself or to your friends, whether that's a guy or a girl. Let's not say this is one gender only, it's both genders, right? And then we can move on to Ananya as well. But Dani, I need you to take yourself off mute, darling.
I did it earlier. I didn't realise. There we go. Sorry. Yeah. I can't say in a dance scene, I wouldn't say I've experienced it myself from others. I think more I do it to myself. So I look at everybody else and I think, well, why can I not dance like that? Or why can't I do what she's doing? Or I maybe want to, if I see somebody doing like a routine and they're being lifted, in my mind, I want to be lifted, but then I think, well, actually, no, I'm too heavy for that. I'm too big. I can't do it the way that they do it. It's not going to look the same. It's just going to look like a car crash. So then I know, well, then when I dance with someone, it's the worst. I get so like tense when it happens. So in a way, I've actually had the opposite, because I've always been told that I shouldn't worry about my weight, and that actually and then I was taught the proper way to dance with a guy and how that they could lift anybody of any size. And then even in the classes, they demonstrated to me, and it shocked me so much to see that actually these people that were probably half my size could still lift me.
But then, personally, I don't like dips anyway. I hate dips. I really hate dips. I've had a guy dip me, and then he banged my head on the floor, so it didn't end really well. In salsa, this happens a lot in salsa. Because kizomba is like, you don't do dips at all like that. But this happened to me in salsa. Yeah, and I lost about, I don't know, 1,000 brain cells. So anyway, thank you so much for that, Dani. And so is there anything else, sorry, you want to add before we move on? And then you can kindly pass it on to Ananya when you're ready, yeah?
Yeah, no, that's okay. We can go over to Ananya and hear her thoughts.
Thanks, guys. I think I'm unmuted. So really interesting to hear everybody's experiences and observations. I love the idea of the body love classes. I really want to know more about what exactly, what are the exercises, what are the sorts of, things that people actually go, what do you take them through to get to that stage of separating what is not real from what is real about what. So that I really would like to know more. But like everybody, yes, I've had my share of uncertainty or question marks. When you step on the dance floor, you're making yourself so vulnerable, particularly in our partner dances, because you need somebody to dance with, and you have to be chosen, or you have to be accepted if you invite someone as a woman, and all sorts of things flash through your mind in those moments, and all you want is a good dance and a good evening. And it's very easy to filter, I think, to project all your anxieties, which don't even have anything to do with the dance, but they just come out at that moment. And I think that it's really crucial how we go back, whether we feel good about ourselves or whether we feel desperate. I've seen so many comments in the previous lives that I've been on here, Neelam, where women say that they feel awful, they didn't enjoy the experience, and it sat with them, and then there's a vicious circle of feeling worse about yourself. So I think I made some notes as people were talking, and I think that what I want to say is that there's such a thin line between wanting to go on the dance floor to feel better about oneself, to give oneself the opportunities to dress in a particular way, to show off your body in a particular way, to feel good about what you are, to get that opportunity. But then that slides so easily into feeling anxious of whether you're good enough, whether you're looking attractive enough. And what I think Dani said about shaming oneself, nobody else needs to, we are really concerned about whether we are good enough. It doesn't matter whether somebody else is shaming us or no. And I think that thin line between body love, or wanting to love your body, and actually feeling embarrassed or anxious about your body, I think that's a very thin line. And we've got to understand that with all these moments, the dance floor is a space full of thin lines. You don't know, you're going to tip over from a positive to a negative any second. I think we've got to be so careful about it. And I think it really, it's about, for me, it's not about body love or body shaming. It's ultimately about accepting yourself, learning from the dance floor how to accept yourself and to feel in the pink of mental and physical health. So it's not about, as Amy said, her metabolism is super fast. Others may not be that super fast. Some of us are aging in the course of our life in the dance. We grow as women, we have hormonal changes. Things happen to us. People never have any space to talk about this, even in society at large. Forget about the dance floor, where everybody's meant to just look cookie cutter and a certain way, frozen in time. So I think that it's really important that we understand it's about being physically healthy and feeling good. Am I physically healthy? Am I my proper body weight? Is my BMI index okay or whatever? is my GP saying I'm okay? If that's okay, then I'm okay for the dance floor. I don't have to lose weight for the dance floor. I may have to lose weight to maintain my health. You see what I'm saying? There's really a difference. But things happen, and we've all had that experience, as you said, Neelam. We've put on a few pounds. Shit happens. And
COVID happened
to go onto the dance floor. And I think that's bad, because it happened to me. A couple of years ago, I was really busy with my dance project, ironically, and I couldn't even go out dancing. I couldn't take exercise. I put on a few pounds, and I felt ashamed to go and dance. Now, this is bad, because the less I danced, the less I could work off those extra pounds. Nor did I feel motivated to. So this was very bad. I only broke out of it because it was actually impinging on my health, and then I lost weight because I needed to for health reasons. And then I felt, okay, I can face the dance floor again. But this is a ridiculous way to be. If we enjoy the dance floor, if we have sincere and good friends who are our dance partners, that they should accept us and welcome us, whatever state our minds and bodies are in, because we often go to the dance floor to heal as well, and to enjoy ourselves. So we need to be supportive of each other. The last thing I want to say is that the body love classes we just heard about, they reminded me also of Kwenda Lima's classes, which all of us may remember. I'm not sure what's happening to Kwenda these days. He's gone kind of underground during COVID.
No. He's set up a school. He has set up a school in Lisbon.
I know the school, yeah, but is the school still running during this pandemic time?
I messaged him to talk about the school, but there's availability for next year, but I didn't know if there's
fantastic. Kwenda Lima has been visionary, I think, and more people should remember him and even think about the sorts of things he used to teach us in the classes, because it was about developing trust and respect and love for each other in the couple dance, and not competition and aggression and obviously body shaming. So I think that kind of approach is really important, and I really hope there are more Kwendas and more people bringing this aspect of body love, how we love our bodies, how we respect other people so that they can love their bodies, and how we kind of make room for bodies that are not just, we are talking about size a lot here, but also aging bodies, because we are women and we are growing older, and there should be space for us to still enjoy ourselves if we want to. I'm not ashamed to say it's my 50th. I turned 50 a few weeks ago, and I feel on top of things. Unfortunately, there's no dance floor right now for me to go and demonstrate that. But I think we should embrace our age. And
don't worry, Ananya, we're going to do a less is more Semba challenge, so you can embrace the dance and do our challenge soon.
I would love to do that.
So you must do that, okay?
I would love to.
But I think Ananya's saying, ditch those friends who are no good for you, okay? Ditch those bloody friends. Ananya, we're going to come back to you. It's really amazing. The stuff you always come out with is amazing, because it raises more questions for me. But I really want to go back to Paola as well, because Paola's our tech support, everybody. She's fantastic at it. I tried to give it a go on the last live, and I was completely poopy at it. So we're welcoming Paola to do this. But Paola also doesn't generally get a chance to speak, so I'm going to give her this platform because she also wants to say something about things that she may have encountered. So for the rest of us, if we can just mute ourselves so that Paola can get a chance to speak in her lovely Latin accent. Oh, that was French, sorry.
Espanol. No, I can take from the point that Ananya was saying is so important, and it's what I also believe and try to spread the voice. I apply it even at home, when going to the gym or dancing or doing any activity. I do it because of my health, not because of being. That's my priority. And there were some experiences that I had, and also I think after my 15 years old, and I started to develop myself. I used to say that I developed like a popcorn, and I started to be very how can I say, like a meaty hourglass women. That's how sometimes we are, is the expression. And it was a bit difficult, especially during my teenage years. Some people might think that in Latin America we are all voluptuous, but no. I actually was one of the most, and it was difficult for me. I used to cover, and I developed somehow like my back to try to cover that.
Yeah.
It took time, and I used to be very shy, and it took time, and I definitely the dance pathway that I took, it helped me a lot on that self-confidence. But of course, at the beginning, it was difficult to get, especially onto a social, and you feel like you want it or not, you feel some pressure. But at this point of my life, I embraced it and I kind of promote it. I had recently an experience with organizing like a flash mob, and I was part of it. And there was this question of deciding the color of the pants, and somebody proposed why not to wear white pants, white jeans, and some of people, even teachers, say, no, that's not going to be looking good. Our bump will look like terrible, like a fridge. And I actually thought that it could look nice. And I have seen there are quite many beautiful ladies that are in the kizomba, and they look amazing, no matter how the shape of their body is. So I definitely try to create and spread the mind that it's not about the color, or it's just about how you feel yourself. Also sometimes about how you can play with the color, how you can put this here on this on your hips, or but yeah, definitely that was a very curious experience. Still there is some way to change the people's mind, and but like Ananya said, it's a good point, and I definitely believe that doing something for you it goes beyond the shape of your body. But if I am meaty but I am healthy, that's fine for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Paola. You just reminded me a fridge has lots of goodies in there.
Yeah.
So don't worry about the fridge, okay? That reminded me of my childhood best friend. She developed a lot quicker than the rest of us. So, you know, you can imagine it. She was like a double D, okay? And all the girls want to know how she got there, but all the guys would tease her. And like yourself, she'd kind of hunch forward and always make her tops looser and just hunch forward a lot, which created her bringing her shoulders forward. Anyway, I just remember having to try and see what she had for her diet, and I used to try and think it was a chocolate bar that made her boobies big. Anyway, that was my story. That's how naive I was. I thought there was a chocolate bar that made her boobs big. It's not the story though, honestly. It's not what made it. She just developed a lot faster than the rest of us. I always have a silly story. Honestly, I have so much crap in my head, it's unbelievable. Anyway, I think we've all shared some really wonderful things that are going on. We've spoken about how social media is impacting us, the flyers that we have out there, even comparing. We've looked at performances where a lot of the people who are body beautiful, as they say, are put to the front, and the ones that are a bit larger are put to the back. But before I move on to some more positive stuff, because that's what we want to steer towards, I believe we've been getting some questions in. Am I right? If I can pass it on to Dani, can we pick up a couple of the questions between you and Ami, please?
Yeah. So there's some good comments coming in. There's one that I want to pick up first, and I'm going to try and pronounce her name correctly. I'm going to get it wrong, but I'm going to say Paola. I don't know if Paola, you can bring it up. And it's actually a little bit further on from that, and it's the one that says, I have heard people discuss at a social dance floor that they are ready to dance with girls showing some skin rather than being covered all over. Also, if she's skinny. Also, don't want to dance with dark-skinned women, no matter what. I think that happens a lot. But what I'm also interested in is the opposite way round. I think we hear a lot about women, this happening to women, but is there any men out there that it happens to you guys? We don't hear it so much. So have you guys got anything to say? And I'll hand it over to Kyla. You have something?
Yeah. Oh, so many things that were just said. It's a lot coming at you all at once, trying to remember what I wanted to say here. You know, I want to point on a few things that happened, but I think in general, when we get into this mindset of like, how do I need to present myself in a way that looks good? Like, I think it perpetuates the issue, right? If we're constantly focused on like, well, what I need to make sure that I'm looking good for what? Like, what's the what, you know? So I feel like it's important to do a check-in of like, well, what do I want to wear? You know, like without all of this crap around me, if no one else was coming around, what do I want to put on my body? And trying to figure out what that looks like. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, you know, I think that for me, when I hear that that's happening, or someone's like, well, I don't want to dance with that person because, like, you know, first of all, I don't want you dancing with me anyway. Like, I don't care if that's how you show up to a place and you choose to not spend time with X, Y, and Z type of people because of the way that they look. I don't want to waste my time on you anyway, first of all. You know, so I think it's definitely, I think that is a problem. And I don't think it's one that I need to fix as myself, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not going to choose to fit into this box of this person, you know? And I also think what you just mentioned about, like, you know, does this affect males? You know, I think this affects all genders. And I think it's important to say all genders, because, you know, there's not just two genders. We have transgender, we have non-binary, we have female identifying, we have male identifying. I think it's so important for us to acknowledge that exists, and that, you know, when there's that acknowledgement there, things have to change. You know, we have to change our language. We have to change the way we have this entire conversation, you know, and it's so important, because I think that at the end of the day here, I feel like what we're speaking about right now, we're currently in the space of, you know, body positivity, body love, body shaming, this idea. But I think just in general, as a human life form, what we're talking about is inclusivity. How do we bring inclusion into these spaces? How do we make you feel safe and you feel safe? And right now, we just so happen to be talking about in your body. But a big piece of that is, you know, I'm really grateful and honored that in these classes that I've had, these body love classes, that they're non-gendered spaces. I choose to not gender in spaces, and I've had male identifying, I have non-binary people in those classes, and these issues, you know, are truly issues that are just human issues. I think by and large, we've decided that it's a woman issue, you know, and I think by and large, it does affect female identifying people a lot, but I think just as much, it's just that it's not as talked about. So I think just in general, the fact that we're having this conversation is it's the start to normalize this idea of having these conversations and making sure that when we do have these conversations, that it's inclusive, that this stuff matters to all types of humans on this planet. You know, so I think that's definitely true. And as far as, you know, people, you know, putting people into a box on the dance floor and not wanting to, that's their problem. And if they're a good human, as the world has beautifully progressed a lot in the last little bit of like coming to this new realization, you know, they're going to be on the other side. Nobody's going to want to dance with them anyways. So we just got to be ourselves, wear what we want to wear, and not feel like we got to fit in anybody's box, you know?
Yes, thank you. I think you're so right. I think it brings up a thing that we do need to think more of ourselves, and how we feel about how we look, or how we are going to dance. I am interested, Tammy, what you would say to these, what you might have to say to these people that have these comments, that hear these things from other people.
So I absolutely love what you ladies have all brought in, because it's all about self-talk and how we talk to ourselves. That's basically what it's about. And Kyla, what you were talking about was mainly about changing negative automatic thoughts into positive automatic thoughts. And it's taking how we think of ourselves as, those are just things in our subconscious and things that feedback that we get from each other, and our subconscious formulates that into negative automatic thoughts. And I think what I'm understanding about your work and why it's so beautiful is because you are indirectly changing those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. And once we have those positive automatic thoughts, that creates the safety that you were talking about earlier. So safety really in the dance community starts with you. right? And so I've I've modeled when I was younger. I did professional ballroom and Latin dancing. I've been on the pole, and so everything has always been around body image, and there's always been such negativity. And once I myself took myself out of that, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing me. So when, you know, Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh Bear, if Winnie the Pooh Bear can wear a crop top, then so can I. And that's really what it's about. It's changing those thought processes and changing them into something positive. And I think that's really, it's great that, you know, people do experience difficulties. I was also very underweight. So, I mean, I can completely relate to what you're saying. And I tried everything. I tried eating, because remember, like, what happens to your body, like Prof said as well, was it's basically where you are in your stage of life. It is where you are mentally, emotionally. That your body tells you what is going on with your emotional state, you know, and you need to listen to your body, but also take the body and the mind. The two can't be separated. So they need to really go together. And that's where it's amazing to bring dance in, because for me, that's always been my safety. So once you can change those negative thoughts into positive thoughts, you can block out all the negative responses or feedback that you get from others, and you can be. And once I did that, and my journey was, I struggled in dancing to get it right, but then I started pole fitness. And within, I think it was 2 months, I picked up 10 kgs from being underweight. And that was just, it was just me saying to myself, I will do this, I can do this. And if we can wear that crop top, then so can I, you know, because a lot of the comments that I always got was, oh, look at that skinny person with ribs sticking out. And everybody judges you. Absolutely everybody. Research shows that employers judge you, doctors judge you according to your weight, you know. And I really found a little bit of the opposite in terms of my research, was that the social scene for me from our, and I don't know if it's just something in South Africa, Paola, you might be able to tell us, give us some input, but it seemed to me that body shaming happened a lot more in the social scene than in the professional scene. In the professional scene, we're all in a dance space. We've got a goal, and this is our goal, and that's what we're doing. But in the social scene, we want to impress, we want to enjoy ourselves, and then we feel very under pressure, and that's when our positive thoughts and our safety nets are torn apart. And I think I've said a lot today. But yeah,
you said some really useful stuff there. You have said some very useful stuff. You know, this is the kind of conversation that we always try to keep it to an hour and a half, but we know it always overlaps. So thank you so much for that, Tammy. I also want you to pick up on some of the questions that Tammy and Dani are picking up from the audience. So if we just move on to the next question, we can try and get through to those ones. We can then move on, steer it towards a more positive responses.
Yeah, we've got one from Charlene. Yeah, I don't think I've been told directly. However, when I attended overseas events is very different. I was always passed over for dances, or I get dances when someone introduces me to others. I have had some guys look at me up and down, some only to ask dance with me only when they see how I dance with others. All right. Okay, so they first judge you whether you can really dance or not, and they first. Yes, I know Charlene personally. She's a bigger girl, and she's one of the finest dancers. Very smooth, very beautiful followers, and it's just sad that something like this has happened to her, and continues to happen. She says, "I noticed in Paris, where I've been twice, male attendees tend to dance with people they know, or tall blonde girls, or girls who are showing more skin." Yeah. So either Dani or Kyla, would you like to answer that? How do you handle such kind of approaches? Yes, it is a lot about internally how you feel about yourself. Yes, but how do you handle these kind of rejections or impressions that gets thrown at you, or the judgments that get thrown at you? It's very difficult to work on your internal self when externally you're constantly receiving the other way around. So what do you have anything to say?
You're allowed to swear, Kyla. You're allowed to swear. Because I would probably say pee off. Just saying, just putting it out there. Just putting it out there.
That's good to know, because I almost did earlier, but I was like, let me not. Maybe it's kids show. Yeah, maybe we can both just kind of tag team it. Dani, if that's cool with you.
Okay.
Cool.
Where do we?
Yeah, you go first.
Sorry, 1 second. I think it's difficult to. How do you respond to others? I think it is difficult to say it doesn't come from ourselves, because if it doesn't come from ourselves, we're going to take too much in from the other person. I think it's the same inside of dance, outside of dance. It's not an easy thing to do. I think we all know that it's hard to not listen to those around us. I just think you have one person at a time. You just have to try. And I think most of us hopefully have our friends around us at dancing as well. We have them. We can dance with them. Like I think Kyla, you said earlier also, if somebody is putting you down, or if somebody is refusing to dance with you for whatever reason, why do you want to dance with them? Why let yourself be upset because they don't like something about you? That's not okay. I think we just need to try and think about it a bit differently if we can. Again, it's a hard thing, but yeah, I think it comes a lot from myself, even though we can't control what others are going to say. Someone's going to say something somewhere. Someone isn't going to like my hair, my eyeshadow, my top, or so there's going to be people everywhere that don't like something. And I think if we live life following all of that, it's going to be very difficult for us. So anything to add?
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, and like, oh, this one, that's why I was like, whoo, because this one's personal for me, because I have experienced this so much. I can't, and like, especially with traveling, like, you know, before COVID, you know, I was starting to travel and teach in other places. And, you know, I would go to a space where I didn't know anyone. And sometimes they wouldn't know that I was a teacher. You know, I would go into the space, and in this weird box that people have placed dance instructors in, technically, I do not fit the bill. You know, I got a little too much junk in the trunk, whatever. I don't fit the bill that everybody has like put for this. So, you know, that people don't always expect that I'm the teacher, which doesn't affect me now as much as it used to. But like, I would go into these spaces, go into the social. Sometimes people didn't go to the class or whatever. So I go to the social in a community where I don't really know anyone. And y'all, is intense of like, just, you know, being turned down left and right, being looked up and down and being like, nah, I'm good. And so, you know, I found myself, you know, and again, like leading and following is not gendered, you know, whatever. So I lead a lot, you know, whenever I'm first in a social, and that's just my preference. And it makes me comfortable, because then I'm like, and initially, you know, and even still now, it's something I have to work on of like, let me prove myself. And then I'm like, fuck that. Like, no, like, let me not, you know. But I've just experienced, Charlene, you are not alone. And it's a very intense feeling to go into a space and know how awesome you are and be in a room full of people who don't give you a chance. It's heart-wrenching. And like, it's a feeling that's like, just, it's hard to like put into words, because like there have been times where I've like, you know, because one of my dance partners, Tina, and I work together. I don't know if you know Tina, but we love Tina. She's amazing, from Boston. And we were teaching somewhere, and I was just not okay that night. Like I was struggling. Like after we came home from the social, I was not in a good place, you know, and I was like, I'm not feeling, you know, because it took like an hour and a half. It took an hour and a half in that social for people to be like, oh, she's good. Okay, I'll dance with her. But that first hour and a half was just rejection, 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 and like looks up and down, just gross. And I told Tina, I was like, listen, when we go to a new place, like can we dance together a few times first? Because normally we go places and we don't dance together. We dance with everybody else. But I was like, to make me comfortable, can we dance? And of course she's like, duh, you know? But yeah, Charlene, it's a very intense thing. And what I will say is like, you're not alone in that. And it's something that I think will continue to be a struggle, but I do think these conversations are helpful, and hopefully people listening to this right now, or maybe someone that has turned someone down because they've judged them by their looks. You know what I mean? And like, just like, I love what Dani said about not letting it take you over and knowing that that's a projection of themselves. Go ahead, Dani.
I just would like to, Elaine, hello Elaine, it's nice to see you here. She's just put in, hi ladies, remember it's not you, it's them. And this is such a true thing. And I wanted to mention it because I was at work the other day, and as you can imagine, so I have customers that are rude all the time. And somebody said to me, just remember that you're just doing your shift, you're just doing your dance, whatever. They're going to be an asshole for the rest of their life. And I think that is what we have to remember. If that's, and excuse my language, but it's true. If they're going to be like that, they have to always be like that. Whereas actually, we're going to go home at the end of the night. Like, we're just here for our dance, you know? I am going to hand it over to Ananya. I think she had something to say while Kyla was speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I just wanted to like say something a bit earlier, but are we still addressing Charlene's question, or are we? Yeah. So in general, I think it's kind of important that we all play our role in making the dance scene aware that there are other possibilities, you know, for women's bodies, women, different shapes of women, different ages of women. It's about the dance, not about body shapes, you know. So I think all of us have a role to play in that. Obviously, even this event is playing a role, as you know, Kyla said, maybe there's somebody out there, or Dani said, you know, somebody's out there maybe who's thinking, oh, that's not, you know, that I shouldn't have done that. But I think individually we should all have strategies also about how when we get out there on the dance floor. The ultimate aim is to have a good night, you know, and to have dances. So let's be quite pragmatic and work out, for example, yeah, having friends who we dance with, to show people, well, we can dance and we have a good time with the folks. At the end of the day, the person we want to dance with also wants to dance with us because about something about the way we dance, not about the way we look. I mean, obviously there's a combination, there's a chemistry somewhere, but that's not what we're looking for. So if we can show somehow that we're all, you know, that I'm a relaxed dancer, this is what I do well, or this is me, then I think in an unknown place, like Charlene is saying, there might be ways in which people understand that you are a great dancer and they will want to come and dance with you without putting you through that horrible 1 hour, 2 hour, you know, where you're just sitting there and thinking, or standing there thinking, when is this going to end? And you start emitting worse and worse vibes, you know. I know that, I've done it myself. And you know, this is going to go so badly downhill because you're just emitting this awful energy. So before it gets to that stage, I think we should have strategies with our girlfriends, you know, girlfriends who can lead, to just show people what we are about and this good energy that comes out from us. And I think the role that I really want to acknowledge people like Neelam. When Neelam was teaching a lot, I didn't know Neelam then, but you know, I just saw flyers with her, or I saw her Facebook page, and I was like, that's a natural, fun, normal looking person, you know. She looks fun. I mean, you know, you want such women to really be taking center stage to break that horrible kind of issue that, you know, Amy, you talked about how, you know, this is selling or not. No, we are not there to sell anyone. We are there to promote ourselves. So 𝐲𝐿, you know, Neelam, Magna Gopal, these are all women who've done a lot for us, and we need more people like that. Even women in couples, which is traditionally the space where, you know, you aren't so empowered, you think. But people like Aneta Kepka, you know, dancing with Osbanis, one of my first salsa teachers. There are a lot of strong women out there. And I think these women have done a great job, and we should keep looking to them and somehow also keep putting them in the spotlight so that their strategies also become everyone's strategies. So it's about being strategic. That's what I'd say. And looking out for each other.
Yeah, Tammy wanted to, she was raising her hand. Tammy, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to interject there, but I think, you know, what we don't always have friends there, and I often go by myself, you know, but we must always remember, like, we radiate energy, right? And people feed off of our energy. So what I've noticed with my patients, you know, my words are failing me specifically, is that, you know, we look at what is their stuff and what is my stuff. And once I know, okay, that is a them issue, then I feel more confident, and people will feel that energy. You will, what do you call it? You will sit up better. You know, you will project yourself a heck of a lot better to others. And that's when you attract people with similar energies that are vibrant, you know. So sometimes, yes, we need those strategies, but sometimes we don't have the external support that we need. But we have that internal support to say that that's actually a them problem. And if it's a them problem, I don't want to dance with them. So yeah, so that really helps. Is it me or is it them? And if it's not me, then so be it.
I completely agree, and I absolutely love that. And this last 6 months, that is literally what I've learned, is how to find out what's my problem and what is theirs. It's difficult, but once you do it, it's the biggest relief that you could probably find. What I also found is something else that I do is, if something comes up, if there's an issue, someone doesn't like something, I think a lot of us like to block it out or ignore it. We put it away. We don't want to talk about it. If it's not there, I don't have to deal with it. And what I found my biggest thing was, I don't want to do that because I'm not dealing with it. It's still going to be bugging me. So I answer it. I figure a way to respond to whatever's being said or what's going around my head. And I just come up with like a short statement. So every time it pops into my head, I know how to answer it. I can say, no, actually, if I think I'm overweight, well, no, you're not. He lifted you, or you're perfect way. You like what you look like. And I think it's much better because, you know, or for myself, I know that I have actually dealt with it and I've overcome it. I don't feel it anymore. I don't know if anyone else has got any sort of experiences or ways they might deal with things. Ami, you have something to say?
No, I would like Ananya to speak before I take on to the next similar related comment that's come up. So yeah, Ananya, go ahead.
No, it was just about these strategies. I so agree. It's so important to have little scenes and statements for oneself, you know, so that's also part of being ready, you know, to only generate positive energy within oneself. Actually, I do think you're right, Tammy. Indeed, we don't often go to places with other people. So this is a luxury. If we can go with friends, we should use them. If we know people, we should capitalize on it. But that's like investment or savings in a bank. You know, you still got to have the currency to deal with the moment. So, for example, if I've got if there's an evening where I'm just not getting a dance, or you know, I would just say, okay, I'm observing, I'm learning I'm here because I want to be here. It's great if I get a dance or two, but that's not the, and you know, the ladies like Tanya Mendonça and people in Kizomba, they have been emphasizing this too, that traditionally in the Kizomba scene, in a traditional, you know, in a Kizomba party in Angola, for example, there's a lot more going on than just hungering for a dance, you know. I also sense this. I used to go a lot to Benin for my research in dance, and I danced a lot socially there, West African country, you know, beautiful little sort of like social evenings and clubs. And again, you quickly understood there was no need to be anxious if you weren't getting the dance, because everybody ensured you got to dance. So there was no need to clamor and panic and look out for the guys and make some signals with your body. Just sat there, talked to people, got to know them. Somebody got you a drink, and then somebody would make sure that you were dancing. So there were periods of dancing and periods of chatting and socializing. So I remember those scenes, and I remind myself, it's not just about dancing. I'm here to be comfortable, to express myself, to have a night out, to learn from the scene, to absorb the energy of the scene. And this is not ending. I mean, of course, we didn't know there was a COVID pandemic coming along, but generally you think there's another dance tomorrow, there's another dance next weekend. So for me, those are the strategies to remind myself that I'm not just there to get dance after dance after dance. I'm there for a purpose, to absorb lots of stuff and just enjoy. The idea of enjoyment becomes bigger. So yeah, that's my strategy actually.
To add on to another strategy that Ananya, the strategies are good. One of these strategies that I also work with and promote, and I have actually trained I've worked with Charlene, I've worked with few other people, is one very good strategy to have is to start leading yourself. It's empowering, and it is also just like how Kyla said that when she goes out at a party where she does not know anybody or when nobody knows her, a familiar dances, once people see how you dance, they automatically you start getting asked again. So when you start leading, because a lot of the women that I know, they travel solo to different festivals, and they generally do not go there with known common friends and who would ask them for a dance or something like that. Like for them, I think if you start leading and just grab a woman and start dancing, I think that immediately changes the game. So now the ball is in your court and not in their court for you to dance and feel happy. Lead and follow is just a role, right? It's just a role. It does not have anything to do with genders per se. So I can assume the leader role and I can still have a grand night and feel great about my body, and I don't need the same validation coming from somebody else who either decides to accept to dance with me or rejects to dance with me. It does not matter to me anymore, because now the ball, things are in my control now. I control the way I feel about my body, no matter whoever chooses to judge me or not judge me, big deal. So yeah, go ahead, Kyla.
Yes, I just want to say one thing. I love everything that you just said. Yes, yes, yes to all of it. And I think there's one more piece, that we haven't mentioned. And I think that, this is also like just a cultural issue. And I love like what Ananya was just saying, like this community that she was in where like everyone danced with everyone. And I'm very lucky that in Nashville, that really is how it is. And I do think that, these new ideas and concepts, they trickle down from our leadership. They trickle down in these little things of like who you see on the flyer, who you see on the front stage, what you hear in classes. And that's why this idea of like, being accepting and empowering as an instructor, I think is so important. And, I think that as instructors, we got to promote that culture. If you are in front of, many people and you just so happen to be teaching this beautiful, class, making sure that we say little things like, go out on that social dance floor. Try leading, try following, dance on the side by yourself when you're not dancing with anybody. Remember why you're here. Don't feel like you have to have a partner in order to enjoy yourself, but also making sure that as a culture, as a community, we are promoting, just supporting everyone. And I think, and one of the things that I try to do in all my classes is like celebrating each other, watching people dance and applauding for them, saying how amazing that they are. And no matter if it's their first day and they look like a hot train wreck, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that we're promoting this culture of like loving each other in order, because when we love each other, we can love ourselves a little easier, and vice versa. And so I just had to say that, because I think that sometimes we forget as instructors how much we can affect the culture of our dance community. Those little changes of like not judging people on a dance floor come from us instructors when they hear us in those classes, I mean, I'm done, but I can keep going. I think we lost.
Did we lose Neelam?
I know we lost.
I think Neelam.
think things lost her
trouble.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So she's disappeared for a bit. I think she's trying to get back on now. I think we might have lost Tammy a little bit as well here. But as I think let's move on. Like as it says at the bottom there, I think we've talked a lot about what happens. But I think we started with the strategies. We started already talking about what we can do. But we're interested now. Let's see. What is one way you can celebrate your body every day? Is there something that you can do? Something that you can tell yourself? I messaged my friend recently and I said, and I just told her, if you can just spend 5 minutes before you go to bed. And I had to do this while I was in Italy, because I struggled a lot whilst I was there. And before I went to bed, I just had to tell myself that I love myself, I'm happy, and I can get through whatever's going to come the next day. And I just did that every night before I went to bed, and it did help. Anybody else here got anything that they might do every day? Tammy, we'll go to Tammy.
So I have at the back of me, I have my dance partner is my pole. And I have it, as you can see, it's very mobile. So when as I come through my door every day, I take a spin around it, or I do a cha-cha, or I do a kizomba. And then the last thing at night as well, if I am feeling quite bleak, then I take a spin around the pole. And, you need to celebrate you, and sometimes like I feel fat and I feel ugly. And then I get my pole up and then I do a few turns. And remember, exercise produces endorphins. And that's my daily tip.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Do it's something that I keep telling myself I'm going to try it one day. I'm going to do it. I just went to the circus recently and they were doing the aerial one.
Yes.
And it just looked fabulous. I was like, well, I'm going to be able to do that one day. I'm saying it now.
And it's a great kizomba partner as well.
There we go. I think you had something to say as well. You had some ideas. Ananya?
Yeah, I actually, it's very similar to Tammy's comment. I do try, especially now that we are all indoors for months, I try to take some exercise every day, even if it's just half an hour, because I just feel quite good that I can still do it, whatever it is. Again, Magna Gopal, the salsa dancer, has been really good in keeping this, what we call the QFit community going. There's a group of us that meets. First, it used to be for the first 60 days of quarantine worldwide, it was every day. And we became like a religious cult really doing this. Then it had to change because patterns were evolving in different parts of the world. And so it's now become a 3 times a week meeting. And there's a group of us, and that's really important for me. In fact, one of the reasons I was late in signing on today at 7 was because I was doing a replay. And I thought it would be ridiculous if I cut out my exercise, which makes me feel good, in order to be on time for body shaming. The girls will forgive me for this because this is the reason I'm a little late. So you see, just try to squeeze it in whenever I can, but about half an hour. So that's my way, that I try to do something active for my body, and it's also a way of maintaining my health and making sure my metabolism's up and so on. So maybe I'll try to put a poll and take some pole dancing classes. That's also something I want to do for a long time.
That's great. Let's say hello bye to Ami. She's back with us.
Yes. Oh my God, my internet is acting up again. Did we already do Samiksha's comment?
No, we've just been talking at the moment just about what is one way you can celebrate your body every day. But if there's something you want to bring up.
Oh no, it was just the Samiksha's comment, and then we can start moving on to all the positive things. All right, so Tammy, I'll give this to you because you're the expert on this, because it's a personal question. Generally, even at home, how do we stop our own family members from body shaming us? I think they should start right from home. Absolutely, agreed. Personally, I have faced a lot of negativity from my near and dear ones, hence this question. Yes, like I said, some of like my relatives said this when I was about to get married. Then how will you bear a child? You're so skinny. That. So yeah, that's so yeah, shaming when you encounter shaming from your family members, from your loved ones, near and dear ones, that gets disturbing. You know, you go out on a dance floor and somebody judges you, rejects you, it's no biggie. But then what do you do about the ones that happens at home? Tammy?
So, I mean, that's exceptionally painful, and I've experienced that myself. It's okay to do certain types of dancing, but other types of dancing are not acceptable. So, yes, I completely understand, but we have to move back to and we have to look again at your thought processes. And you have to absolutely, yes, this is my family. I love them to bits. I love them, but I don't like their behavior. And then it's reprocessing, reframing things for yourself. And that's really the only way you can deal with it. It's like, yes, this is my family. They're going to be my blood forever. But also I am a human being on my own, separate to my family. And if this is what makes me happy, then that's what I need to pursue. And what I've noticed with my patients is actually once they pursue it and people see, oh, look, you can actually do this, you're actually quite a good kizomba dancer, even though we thought it was very trashy. But then they see, once they see your ability, they change their thought processes. But again, it goes back to your safety net. As Kyla was saying, it goes back to you and what your thought processes are. I don't know if there's anything practical. I can't think of anything at the moment.
Yeah, but that's a good one because I do understand. And the other thing is that as a person, as a human being, if you in a family setup, if you realize that body shaming from somebody is not making you feel good, you will probably stop the cycle right there. You wouldn't pass it on to somebody else, or if you call it out, you would it's a cycle that you break. That no, okay, my body, my rules, and it doesn't apply to me. Whatever you're trying to say, try enforcing it to somebody else. It doesn't work with me. And when you start being firm on that, I think that then you make it clear to everybody else in your society or in your inner circle that it's not okay for them to even talk about your body to you. I mean, who are they? They could be family members that we love, but that does not entitle them to even talk about it, be it positive or negative. Even the small things that really itches and really pinches, because I come back from Bali with a lot of tan, and then my family members go, I'm with a wedding to attend, like, oh my God, you've become so dark. Why don't you do something about your face? Like, it's a tan. It's a holiday tan. I'm proud of it. It's not going anywhere. So these are things that we need to start speaking up, and we need to start drawing the lines with them that, this is not okay for you to talk about my body in any way. All right, moving on to Paola. Could we have the poster for the positive things up there? Oh yeah, Ananya, go ahead.
Okay. Before going that, we are going to say bye to our dear Ananya.
Yes. I need to leave. I'm so sorry, but I had a wonderful hour and a half. Thanks to everyone. Thanks. It's a really important topic. I'm so glad we're part of the discussion. Bye.
Thank you.
Body love to everybody. Loads of body love.
Okay.
The post that we have positives, body positives. Yes, the ways to practice body love positivity. Positive notes on your mirrors, such as I am enough, love your body, you're beautiful. Second, get rid of your scale. That's a good one. And if you wouldn't say it to your friends, don't say it to yourself. Yeah, this is what I was talking about, breaking the cycle in your family as well. Learn to accept a compliment. That's a hard one. Donate your clothes that don't fit instead of torturing. Yes. Question whether body hate is helping. Stop comparing yourself to others or your younger self. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't tell that friend to untag you in that picture. Challenge the idea that thin people are happier. Find a supportive squad to keep you positive. Dance, of course. Eat something wonderful. Cake. Stand tall. Break a sweat. Marvel at the machine. Your body produces 300 billion new cells every day. Your liver can regenerate itself. And for some of us, our bodies create, grew, and delivered new life. What's not to have? Take a nap. Last one. Oh, these are some really, really nice positive thoughts out there. Kyla.
Yes, it came to me with the question of, how can you celebrate your body every day? And I just wanted to, I know we're wrapping up, but I just wanted to say this one last thing of, for me, it's seeing my body the way that it is right now, today, in this moment. And the realization that I can't feel at home in a body that I always view as temporary. And I feel like that is a pandemic in and of itself, and that we're constantly viewing our bodies in a different way than what they actually are. And so I think a really important piece is to just start to feel at home in this beautiful vessel that you have, and whatever way that it is for today, and maybe take note of some things that you want to do to make yourself feel better, but always constantly bringing in that love in for exactly the way that you are right now today. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Amazing, Kyla. Love your work. Love everything. Thank you, Kyla and Tammy, for being with us, for addressing such an important topic and finding help, giving out some very great pointers and helpful pointers to the comments that has come in. It was really lovely to engage with you all for such a very, very important topic. Yes, we've come up with some really nice solutions on what needs to change, how to develop positivity, body positivity towards ourselves on a daily basis, the pointers that we had. And yes, leadership also needs to take responsibility as to what we can do and how it trickles down from there. And these are some really great things that we're talking solutions. We're not just a bunch of group of women complaining and whining. This is what we're making, we're drawing solutions. Yeah, and anybody listening to our talk today would really find something helpful. Please share it with your friends. And if you really want to feel good about this group and about yourself, and you like what we're doing, please join us for Less is More. Less is More next year in Lisbon, and join the foundation, our website, subscribe there, lessismorefoundation.com. And we have more info on Less is More Volume 4 there. Okay, so all right then. Thank you for this lovely evening. It's very refreshing and re-energizing to have such amazing thoughts in place. Thank you, Dani. Thank you, Paola, for the tech. You've been amazing. And all right, bye-bye. Happy weekend to everyone. Next talk would be on Less is More Legacy. Less is More Legacies. So tune in, join us for the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.